With the first pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Trophy Chase, Arizona.
with the second pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select
Cody Smith, Houston, Texas. The fantasy draft room is now on the clock.
Welcome to the fantasy draft room. I am Chase, and with me, as always, my man Cody. We got another Shane P Hallam mock in store for the people today.
Yes, sir. This Monday that we're recording, he dropped another 7-round mock, and you know what that means. We have to do a mock off of that mock. Anytime you give us a 7-round mock, we got to do a mock off the mock. It's what we do here at the fantasy draft room. We love these mocks with draft capital landing spots. It makes it a lot, more interesting down the board. It's not just, hey, what guy do you like more than the other one? Actually puts your feet to the fire a little bit to say, hey, I don't like this guy as much, but I'll take him a little bit higher, maybe put him down a little bit lower because of a different landing spot. Makes you think about the quarterbacks a little bit more as well. See where they go. We'll see where this one goes, especially after the trade that we just saw the last couple of weeks from Carolina to go to the 101 overall. We'll see if that affects anything. And I don't know if you got anything else. We can just roll right into this one, man.
Well, let's jump right in here. If you want to show the people the board real quick here, just so we can
Yes, sir. Break down a couple of the first ones.
Absolutely. So we got CJ Stroud going, to the at the 101 to the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, Houston Texans, Anthony Richardson to the Colts, and Will Levis to the Raiders, all top 7 quarterbacks. And then Bijan Robinson, who's been, the consensus best player in this draft, I guess. When it comes to rookie drafts, he went number 8 overall, so top 10 pick to the Atlanta Falcons. For me, I as much as I like the Bijan going to the Falcons, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I am going to take the number 1 overall pick, CJ Stroud, going to the Carolina Panthers. I just can't pass on the quarterback value. I know the Panthers situation is iffy, but in the end, I think they're going to build around him. I like the tools that CJ Stroud has, and I think we're going to see some fun things from that offense.
Yeah, like the offense. I mean, you got to like the amount of capital that they're putting into him, and you can just roll with that. And so I'm going to get in here to my second pick, and I'm not going to pass up on the 101 of this class. It is still Bijan Robinson for me. In most situations, especially going as a top 10 pick to one of the most run-heavy offenses in the league. Arthur Smith is the guy who made Derrick Henry's career almost what it ended up becoming to be. I mean, as a play caller, obviously Derrick Henry did what he had to do that. But Bijan Robinson is another guy that I believe has as much upside as a Derrick Henry in the league. And so I will be taking Bijan Robinson at the 102, number 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons.
Makes 103 very easy for me. I'm going to be taking Anthony Richardson, going 104 to the Indianapolis Colts. Very good situation where you already have a run game in place with one of the best running backs in the league, not to mention some good young weapons with Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods, and the Michael Pittman show. So I love the potential for Anthony Richardson. There are some big questions about him. Definitely a risk, but the upside is undeniable with what he can do with his legs.
Absolutely love the upside of Anthony Richardson. If there was a different pick, it would have been Anthony Richardson for me. You leave me with only really 2 other choices here. I know people like to hate on Will Levis, but you're telling me that Jahmyr Gibbs is not a top 50 pick, and he's going to the Chicago Bears, which looks like to be a little bit of a crowded backfield as it stands right now. The best wide receiver is JSN going to the Baltimore Ravens. That doesn't look good. And then you're telling me my next best thing is a tight end. I can only go quarterback here for the next 2 picks, and I think you'll probably follow me in that situation right after this pick. But then it's just, will I take Will Levis to the Raiders or Bryce Young to the Texans? And I'm going to take the one that's starting probably day 1, although I hope it's Case Keenum. It's probably going to be Bryce Young for the Texans. I will go with Bryce Young at the 104 pick here.
Yeah, and while you're picking Bryce Young, I am going to take Will Levis at the 105.
Yep.
Can't pass these quarterbacks. I mean, when I see Will Levis going to the Raiders, good weapons in place there already with with Renfro still being there, Devontae Adams, Jacobs, like they have some pieces in place that good offensive play caller, I guess you can probably say with Josh McDaniels, but still some questions there. But hey, last quarterback on the board, I am not going to pass on that, and I'll just kick it right back to you.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say with Will Levis, obviously Jimmy G is there, but if you really look into his contract, if they want to make him a post-June 1 cut and he doesn't really excel year one, there is always the chance that he goes there and he's a very, very good quarterback. You know, he's shown to be pretty standard, pretty competent throughout his time in the league. But if they did want to get out from under that contract, they can't actually do that year one of the contract that he signed with the Raiders. So it's a little bit of a long game play, unfortunately, with Will Levis, but it is the quarterback position. We'll just see how much, Hendon Hooker almost might have a better shot to start before Will Levis here. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes on this board, going there at the 47th pick in the second round of the Washington Commanders. But then you leave me here with the next pick on the board. And like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs just does not excite me in a Chicago Bears offense where they don't pass. Dude, I don't like it either. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do. And I'm going to go with who I think is the best wide receiver of this class. I know I don't like the landing spot, but I'm going to go with JSN out of Ohio State. This 22nd pick overall to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to be as hot takey as you want me to be right now with this number 6 overall. I'm not going to do it. But JSN is going to be my pick to the Baltimore Ravens. The highest wide receiver off the board. He's going to be the highest wide receiver off the board in rookie mocks if I think it plays out this way as well.
With the new offensive scheme coming in with Monken in Baltimore, I have zero issue with that at all. I did contemplate it over the Will Levis pick simply because of what you mentioned with Jimmy G. JSN's going to be on the field day one. We saw him at his pro day running a 4.5 340. Checks all the boxes, hands down the best wide receiver in this class. So I do not mind it. I don't think Baltimore is the same scary situation where you avoid all those wide receivers like we used to think it would be. So I'm totally good with that. I am going to be a little hot takey here, and this might be a little bit of a reach, but both of these guys are going here in the second round, separated by 5 picks. I am going to take the Zeke Elliott replacement, your guy, Zach Charbonnet, going to the Dallas Cowboys. If this happened, I know Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs going to Chicago. I don't mind that situation at all personally, but I think Zach Charbonnet is going to end up in a perfect situation with that McCarthy offense, with weapons already around. All he has to do is his job, and that is run the football. So give me some Zach Charbonnet in Dallas, baby.
All right, so you take Jahmyr Gibbs, and then I take Zach Charbonnet with the next pick after that. That's how this is going to go because I'm controlling the board here. No, you do take Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to go right after you and take Gibbs, but goddamn, man, like you taking my favorite player as he lands in probably the best spot that I've ever seen him in. I think there is a You knew last pick whenever I was talking about that JSN pick, and I was talking through those people right there that it was me contemplating would I actually take Charbonnet at the 106, and legitimately it was a serious contemplation of thought. I thought you might just be nice out of the kindness of your heart and let me take Zach Charbonnet, even though you knew that I would be taking him here at the 8 if you let him fall to me. But no, you're forcing me to take Gibbs, forcing me to not just absolutely blush over one of my favorite. I think he is actually my favorite prospect in the class is Zach Charbonnet. I don't think I've talked about anybody as much as him. And you're the one that gets to take him in the best landing spot that we've seen with the best draft capital compared to the most people's consensus RB2 in the class that we've seen. And so I get Gibbs. He's a good player. He's just not my one and true love, Zach Charbonnet. So I get Gibbs here at the 108, and you're up next on the board.
There's a couple players here, and just sticking to the hot takes. I almost made a reach here, but I'm going to take Quentin Johnston going to the New York Giants here in the first round. The Giants need weapons. That's really what it comes down to. They need weapons for Daniel Jones. He's going to step into a situation where he can get the ball right away and get 100+ targets. So that's all I really need to say about it. We'll see what Quentin Johnston actually is when he's there. And what he can develop into, but I'm not going to pass that up as a first-round wide receiver.
No, definitely can't pass up Quentin Johnston there going this high to the Giants, who are really in need of that alpha wide receiver. He's got the build. He's got the talent to do it, in my opinion. We'll just see if it translates to the NFL. I think he should definitely be the one there, at least stepping into the one as he goes down or throughout this season. But I love this pick. I was blushing over this pick as I was making this board earlier today, and it still doesn't even make me feel good enough to have missed out on Zach Charbonnet. Like this doesn't even bring me, like, I am net negative in happiness yet, even making this pick, because this should bring me so much joy to draft Zay Flowers out of Boston College right after we did our film breakdown with Ray, going to the Kansas City Chiefs as the last pick in the first round. This is an absolutely incredible landing spot for Zay Flowers. It looks, I mean, he's been comped to the Antonio Brown light version coming out of college and being put into an offense with Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't really have a one outside of Kadarius Toney right now, or a Travis Kelce, who we've seen on the wrong side of 30 for a couple of years now. Zay Flowers is an absolutely awesome prospect. You're going to get me here to the Kansas City Chiefs in the back of the first round. I can't pass that up, and it still doesn't make up for what I just lost in Zach Charbonnet.
Man, I hope for Zay Flowers' sake that this happens.
Would be so
really
awesome, man.
do.
It would be awesome.
We've talked about Zay Flowers. He did go back to school for his senior year at Boston College, and we love the production profile. He was he's one of our top 5 running back or wide receivers because of that. But we did have some concerns in regards to how everything's going to translate, what the NFL is going to think of him being from a smaller school, etc. It sounds like he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver in this class. And if he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round, zero problems taking me some Zay Flowers as the third wide receiver off the board. You leave me with a little bit tougher choice here. I think I'm still going to just stick with wide receiver Jordan Addison going to the New Orleans Saints, another first round wide receiver. I like the player, don't love him in terms of like what his upside could be. I think he's going to be a nice wide receiver too if everything goes well for him. And that's pretty much it. So it'll be him and Olave there at the wide receiver position once Michael Thomas moves on. I think I'm okay with that, but it's still not something I really love picking at this point.
This is the spot where, as always, we start talking about what, in my opinion, is the tight end premium position. What is the tight end premium we were playing here, Chase?
We're always going to stick with the 1.75 tight end premium for the tight end premium lovers, and also for those 2 tight end premiums. At least gives you a little bit better idea of how to value some of these tight ends in your rookie drafts.
And then with you telling me that, there's no way that I can pass up on who was the tight end one of this class as we were coming in. I know some guys with their athletic profiles have come up and done a little bit better, but you're going to tell me that the guy coming in out of Notre Dame with the best production profile that we have seen from college in the last couple of years is going to the Dallas Cowboys, where that tight end Dalton Schultz just put up a top 3 finish in the league at the position last year. I got to take me Michael Mayer here at the back of the first.
I'm actually surprised you went with Mayer. But yes, I like Mayer. Again, consensus, at least for us, he's the best tight end, most well-rounded tight end in the class. We'll see how that translates for fantasy production at the NFL level. But I'm just going to go back to back with you here because of what's left on the board. I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid going to the Los Angeles Chargers. Gerald Everett is on a 1-year deal basically left for his contract. They'll keep him. We'll play it out for a year, but then you're tied to the monster that is Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen's towards the back of his career as well. They're going to need other weapons in place, and Dalton Kincaid is one of the best pass catching weapons at the tight end position in this class. And he's the first tight end off the board in the NFL draft, going to a great situation.
All right, we're going to make it 3 in a row then, because I'm going to take who I would have actually taken at the 2, because he does have to battle with Gerald Everett there yet, and the tight end hasn't been a focal point in the Los Angeles Chargers offense yet, as we have seen it. The Las Vegas Raiders, though, have targeted their tight end heavily, and while Darren Waller has been traded off, unfortunately, we did just get the news that Foster Moreau found out through as he was in his free agency doing some getting his physical testing done, medical testing done, just found out that he had some sort of cancer. I think it was Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer.
Yeah.
And, we're just wishing the best for him. But all that leaves on the Raiders right now in terms of just, moving past a very, very unfortunate thing. Again, wishing him all the best as we move on here. But Jesper Horsted, I think, is the best tight end currently on the Las Vegas Raiders staff. We've got Jimmy G, who loved his tight end target in not Kelsey, but
Kittle.
George Kittle there as he was playing his last couple of years in San Francisco. So Darnell Washington is actually going to be my pick here at the beginning of the second.
I don't mind that. My concern is going to be what Washington, how they end up using him, right? Like, and I know McDaniel's coming from the Patriots system. They know how to use tight ends. They do like to use tight ends. However, if you're a good blocker, they'll keep you in the block. They have a very good run game. So I don't mind the pick at all. I do not mind it. I think with the premium and him, going this early, I think that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to argue too much on that one.
Yeah, I think he's, his upside is legitimately George Kittle, though. Like that,
Yeah.
That's what I think his upside is. George Kittle, I've had concerns about him being an inline blocker as well, because he doesn't really run as many routes as he should, because he's always inside blocking too, because he's a very, very good blocker. You're just hoping for that upside with Darnell Washington as well.
Now is where things get sticky for me. And, we got the top tight ends off the board. We got all the quarterbacks off the board, top wide receivers off the board. We do have a few second round wide receivers in Jalen Hyatt going to Houston, Cedric Tillman going to the Panthers, Josh Downs going to the Titans, Tyler Scott going to Buffalo, all in the second round at wide receiver. We have one remaining second round running back in your guy, Devon Achane, going to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think with this situation here and where we're at, I'm going to take Jalen Hyatt going to the Houston Texans with this pick. Giving yourself a young target for a young quarterback, get to come into the system together, get to learn together, grow together, should be able to build some chemistry and, have fun with it.
Yeah, like Jalen Hyatt, the prospect. We'll see what he becomes in that Houston Texans offense. I mean, outside of Robert Woods and really just a couple of other guys, Nico Collins, like Jalen Hyatt could easily step in and be the one for this offense in his first year. So do like the pick there, but I would have gone with my guy, Devon Achane, to the Philadelphia Eagles. Can't pass up the second round guy. I mean, maybe just out of the kindness of your heart, after you just punctured my soul with Zach Charbonnet snipe, you're going to give me you're going to give me my guy Achane here, but I don't think you're that actually kind to me.
You're a little bitter about that one.
I am legitimately bitter about it. Legitimately, I wish I would have looked at this board and seen how it would have played out and given me the 101 instead, because we did talk about this beforehand, and I would have had the 101 if I wanted it, and I just didn't have enough foresight. And
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, I was just blinded by the love. But I do love Devon Achane going to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's much better than anything they have there. I don't care about how the end of the season went. The playoff stretch went for the running back that they have there currently, and then Boston Scoot isn't anything really to be concerned about either. So, no, I do like Devon Achane. I think he would be a pretty integral part of this offense if he was taken here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I like the pick. Now we get into third round running backs with Kendre Miller, Sean Tucker, Tank Bigsby, Tajay Spears, Roshan Johnson. Kendre went to the Rams, Tucker to the Texans, Bigsby to the Bucks, Tajay Spears to the Miami Dolphins, and Roshan Johnson to the Bengals. I'm going to stick running back here. There are a couple second round wide receivers still out there. I'm okay with passing on that for Tajay Spears in Miami. When you have these third round running backs, they're all separated by 14, 15 picks. Like, I kind of have no problem just jumping around. Even as you get into the fourth round, there's some good names, but I like the situation with Miami. They did bring back the whole brigade, right? With Wilson, Mostert. They even brought back Ahmed. And did they bring back Gaskin as well? I think they ran it back with
literally
the
all
squad.
All four have been re-signed.
Now,
all of them make it through camp, especially if they do this. That's a different story. But all four have been re-signed to the squad.
They're all cuttable, but they're also all injury prone. And so Tajay Spears to the Miami Dolphins, I just couldn't pass up what could be with Tajay.
Yep, and you're going to leave me with the one running back that I would have taken over Tajay Spears yet, even if he did go here, just because they did bring back all four guys. There's one guy who they've had situations with before. They were thinking about sending him off. He kind of possibly demanded a trade. They put him on the chopping block. They couldn't get anything for him. Suffered the Achilles injury. Kendre Miller going to the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to have to give somebody the rock there. And Kendre Miller, at this point of his career, might just be the better running back. So I'm just going to take Kendre Miller here going in the top of the third round of the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I don't mind it. He was the other one I contemplated as well. But when you have another second round running back already there with Cam Akers, I'm sure they have no problem splitting the work. That's fine if that's what's to be in LA. But that offense is awful. Offensive line still atrocious. Just a situation I don't really want any part of at this point. So we're getting towards the back of the second round here, and things are getting a little sticky. I think just because of the landing spots that are left, I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, taking over for Leonard Fournette. That's how I envision this with Rachaad White and him kind of splitting work. That's what Fournette and White did last year. From time to time, they both got their touches. I think Tank can get himself some double-digit touches on a weekly basis and see if there's some fantasy relevance there.
Yep, Tank would have been my next guy off the board as well, but I do think that that's where it's a little bit of a tier break for me. And so I'm going to change up positions that we've been seeing here throughout the second round. I'm going to go back to the quarterback position where we do see Hendon Hooker going to the Washington Commanders. He has a legitimate shot to play year one with the guys that are in place there with Brisket and Sam Howell. I think this would be an open competition, especially as soon as Hendon Hooker, if he is legitimately ready for training camp. I don't know if he's going to be, he's not going to be full contact ready for training camp, but I think he could legitimately step in there, start throwing passes in training camp. I think this could be a legitimate battle that Hendon Hooker could take over halfway through the season. In my opinion, with these landing spots, would have a good chance to see the field before Will Levis. And so Hendon Hooker will be my pick here to the Washington Commanders, 47th overall.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a bit. I know you really liked him as well before the ACL tear. And if he has an opportunity, they were great. And if Jacoby Brissett is he's Brisket. Yeah, good old Brisket. If he has the opportunity to start a few games, give Hooker some time to really adapt and learn the system. I mean, there's Sam Howell as well. So there's going to be a full-on quarterback competition in a way, but he has the chance to start. So love the pick there. As we get back here into the end of this second round, there are some running backs here of note with Tucker still going to Houston. I do like him. I mean, if he's going in the third round, I have no problems. We've seen some questions pop up recently with Sean Tucker, but I am going to reach into the wide receiver pool. And this one may shock you, but I do really like Marvin Mims going to the Denver Broncos. Third round wide receivers usually aren't the greatest of opportunities, but Denver's been trying really hard to shop both Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. I think they probably get one done, and drafting Marvin Mims to come in and step in that role with that offense. Give me some Mims.
Yeah, I know you're the Denver fan. I don't know how much of a legitimate possibility. I have seen the reports that they are in legitimate talks to shop. Like if somebody reaches what they want to sell, it seems like anybody as a wide receiver on their roster could go if they want to pay the price that's being asked for. And so it is a little bit more of a projection pick, in my opinion, for Marvin Mims.
For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem if we were actually, just doing this right now. I don't know how we would do this right now, but also have the draft capital in my mind, just working through that one. But if we were doing it right now, I think that Marvin Mims is fine there. But you do leave me the wide receiver that I thought you might take, that I am actually going to be taking here, and that is Cedric Tillman going to the Carolina Panthers. Could easily be. I actually don't even think it's easily. I think he is legitimately the number one wide receiver from day one. You are fighting with Terrace Marshall and Shi Smith in that wide receiver room as it currently stands. Adam Thielen, I guess, is also there because he just got signed, but we'll see how much juice he has left. I actually have a little bit of hope that, he can put out a good first 4 games. But Cedric Tillman should be the one here long-term, as I see it. Build up that chemistry with CJ Stroud. Cedric Tillman would be the wide receiver that I'm taking.
Yeah, I like said Tillman quite a bit. He was one I was really excited about, him and Jalen Hyatt there in Tennessee. both producing really well until the injury. Unfortunately, the injury did occur. He's been falling down boards, but hey, second round draft pick, high second, going to Carolina. I am all for that. And you leave me the guy that I am very excited for, Sam Laporta, going to the Cincinnati Bengals. And again, we're playing the 1.75 premium here. They don't have anybody, and they've shown that they have no problem passing to Hayden Hurst. The offense will never run through tight end. It just won't. When you have Jamar Chase, when you have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, like the offense isn't going to run through Laporta, but I think he can get enough targets where he can be fantasy relevant. So I feel like with where some of these other spots are, it might be a little bit of a reach, but I do like Laporta going to the Bengals.
Yeah, really like Laporta there. He's been a guy that I've been eyeing for a little bit here, but this is a full draft board. This has to be the best draft board that we have seen with landing spots as of yet for all of these videos that we have done with landing spots so far. I have to do it, right? Like, I cannot let Josh Downs fall outside of the second round.
Man. Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to do it, but like it still doesn't even feel good. Like there's still like three other guys that I have in serious contention right here with Josh Downs. I was taking him at the back end of the first earlier, like a month ago. And now just with the landing spot going to Tennessee and the little bit of a down after the post combine stuff, this feels way too low for Josh Downs.
It kind of does, especially when he's going top 50, right? Like he's in the early second round going to Tennessee. All they have, they Robert Woods is gone. So it's just Treylon and it's going to be Josh Downs. And Josh Downs has the chance to play the slot there, which would be great. But the problem is that offense. And I'm with you. I don't think we can, I'm glad you took him. Couldn't let him slide any further, but
there's still like I said, there's still three other guys that I was in high consideration of, and I could have pushed him back to the 3-4 and been okay with it. And that feels gross to say for a guy that I loved in Josh Downs.
Yeah. And you leave me the guy you just can't pass on anymore. I love Sean Tucker. I really do.
Yep.
I wish there weren't medical concerns. I don't know fully the picture of what's going on, but hey, for the sake of this mock, he got drafted in the third round to the Houston Texans. They do have Dameon Pierce, which is great. All these NFLs are going to, multiple back systems. And they had Rex Burkhead, Dara Gumbawale,
Philip Lindsay for a bit, David Johnson for a bit.
Just a cluster behind him. So getting Sean Tucker, a nice little thunder and lightning combo in Houston, I really like it. I think with what offense that D'Amico Ryans is going to be running, they're going to be using multiple backs there. So give me some Sean Tucker here in the early third.
Yep. And then there's there's two other running backs that I absolutely love the landing spots of here. And this is a little bit of a tough choice for me because it's one guy that I like. No, it's one guy that I like more, and it's one landing spot that I like more. I'm going to take Chase Brown going to the Arizona Cardinals here in the fourth. I do like the guy that you can see right above him. Hopefully Chase can't, look vertically and see that there's another guy right there, and hopefully I can get him in 2 picks. But Chase Brown is going to be my pick here for in the fourth round, 105 overall to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I basically we're just looking at these names here, and I'm taking Roschon Johnson. Unfortunately, like I
it had to be.
He's a well-rounded back. He P Ryan's gone. So he can fill in that third down role as a blocker. Bottom line is going to be on the field, and I think he can fill in really well with Joe Mixon. There's a possibility that Joe Mixon is no longer with the team, even as early as this year, but long term, it seems like they're going to be moving on from Joe Mixon in the future. And hey, if he's on the field, he's getting touches. There's an opportunity for him to increase in value and to have fantasy value for my roster.
Yep. Like I said, it would have been my next pick if you didn't make that pick. And
I would have taken Chase Brown. So
yeah, that was definitely going to be the next two guys off the board there. One, 2, 3 tight ends left that have a little bit of intrigue here, I think, for me. talking through it a little bit more openly now, but I can't say his name. And then, you know what I'm going to do? I know he didn't have that great of a combine, but people are going to be absolutely hyped if this does happen for him. I'm going to actually just take Tyler Scott going to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it's the landing spot, right? Like
I
it's
don't really like the prospect all that much, but he's going to the Bills. He's going to have hype around him.
Yeah, it's just the excitement about Buffalo. It is the second round draft pick. He's for me, you just sign him up as the Tutu Atwell of the class, in my opinion. But hey, I at this point in the draft, you're taking draft capital, landing spot all into consideration, and it's hard to pass on that. So I'm going to keep digging into this this well of running backs, and I am going to take a guy that I think has a legitimate shot of having a 1-2 punch. And I'm going to go with Izzy Abanikanda going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know he's a 4th round draft pick, but I really like the profile that was Izzy, or that is Izzy. He has some good size, and ETN has already talked about it, all the way through college, and now even in the NFL. He doesn't like to run between the tackles. So if they can have another running back to be a 1-2 combo, outstanding. That's my guy.
Yep, Izzy would have been my next pick if I didn't go Tyler Scott at the pick before. And so you're going to force me to go back to a different position, though. I'm still going to keep avoiding this running back. I don't really like any of these landing spots as much.
I'm going to make you take
I know
him.
you're not going to do it. I'm literally not going to do it. Luke Musgrave is going to be my pick because we are still in the 1.75 premium. I know it didn't work out for Mike Gesicki there with the Miami Dolphins, but hopefully, Mike McDaniel can learn to actually implement his tight end. Luke Musgrave is that RAS score athletic freak as well, along with all these other guys, but he does fit into a system where Durham Smythe, I believe, is the next best tight end on their roster. And so hopefully Luke Musgrave can actually implement himself into the offense as a passing weapon.
Yeah, I think that's why I've avoided him. I do like Luke Musgrave's athletic ability, but we talk about it all the time when it comes to tight end, is how do these offenses use the tight end? And I feel like Musgrave is Mike Gesicki. Like we haven't
legitimately they do look exactly like, they feel kind of the same.
Like they both are both athletic, both can catch the ball, and that's what they're known for. I don't really know much about Luke Musgrave's blocking ability, but yeah, Miami Dolphins situation is just one I'm avoiding based on what we've seen with what we thought is a good tight end. So, but hey, here in the 3rd, take him. So you leave me with the guy that you don't even want to take, and I'm just going to take him. I'm going to take Zach Evans going to the Los Angeles Chargers, just to save you and save him from falling any further. Already issues with Eckler believing he's underpaid, and he is. Him only making $6 million this year is crazy for what he does for that team. They absolutely should pay him, at least extend him, make him happy to some extent. But they've already shown what is it, Josh Kelly, and we got Spiller there, and
Josh Kelly, Larry Roundtree, is that the
oh
one
yeah,
you're
Roundtree is still there. Roundtree is still there too, and Spiller's there too, and Spiller got used sparingly in his rookie year. Again, 3rd round dart throw. Give me some Zach Evans.
4th round dart throw, but it's all right.
3rd rookie pick. 3rd round rookie pick.
Oh, my bad. Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken him unless I know for sure that Austin Eckler would be leaving that situation. I would not be taking Zach Evans, because Zach Evans would play behind Isaiah Spiller, as bad as that is, because Isaiah Spiller is still better than Zach Evans, even as little as he got used in his rookie year. I still full-heartedly believe that is the case between those two prospects. And so I wouldn't have been taking him there unless we know for sure that Austin Eckler is traded. At this point, I don't have that information. I actually do still think, as we're recording this, I think he ends up coming back, because I don't know who's going to be paying him. As bad as it is for Austin Eckler, I love the dude. I mean, he has a freaking fantasy football podcast. Like, I cannot not love that dude. I hope he gets all of his pay that he's actually due, but he's a running back, and unfortunately, probably just won't happen, and he'll probably end up returning and playing for the Los Angeles Chargers. Moving on, though, I got to take another one of my guys here, I think, right? I'm going to take one of my guys, and this, I think, is honestly high, probably the highest I've taken him. A.T. Perry is going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the New England Patriots. Okay, he's not going to be the number 1, but but he could easily be the 2 behind Juju Smith-Schuster right now. And so hopefully this offense takes a step forward with Bill O'Brien. A.T. Perry to the New England Patriots, going off 76th overall in the 3rd round. It's going to be my pick here at the 308.
All right, well, 309 then. I'm going to kind of dive back into to the running back well. I just, when it comes to this point in the draft, I just like taking those darts on running backs and tight ends for the most part. When I look at the running backs that are left, we're looking at some 4th round, 5th round draft capital. And there's a few that kind of stand out to me. Namely, it's going to sound a little crazy, but I'm going to take Evan Hull going to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's more landing spot than anything. Pacheco did really well in his rookie year. Limited draft capital invested in him. Ronald Jones is gone again. He didn't really get much play or much run. CEH has been shown to be just another guy in the NFL. So I'll just take a running back that's tied to a really good offense and hope that his value can increase or that he gets some touches on that team.
Yeah, he would have been my next pick. I probably should have pushed him back behind A.T. Perry and pushed my love back a little bit.
I would have let you have A.T.
Yeah, I know you would have, but I wanted to declare it and stamp it. I think he's a much better version of like Kendrick Bourne, and so like I think he could easily be a 2 in that offense. But pick probably should have been Evan Hull, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs landing spot. I think you did make the right choice there. There are still a couple of running backs here, but all of these running back rooms just look absolutely gross. And then the prospects are fringe at this point at best. I'm going to pivot a little bit, and I'm going to go over back to the tight end room. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. With Evan Ingram only playing on a 1-year deal there currently as it stands, I'm going to take Tucker Kraft, one of the best tight ends out of the FBS, but still one of the best tight ends in this rookie class as well. Tucker Kraft out of South Dakota State will be my pick here at the 3-9.
That was going to be my next pick. So I don't blame you. Great pick there.
Glad I can snipe you once.
You did just a little bit, just because of that situation. I do think they figured out with Evan Ingram, but
I do think so too.
I'm good with that. I'll take Luke Schoonmaker going to the Green Bay Packers here in the 3rd. No Tanyan. They got Josiah DeGuara, and I think they brought back Tyler Davis on a 1-year deal. Spending a 3rd round draft pick on a tight end. He has some athletic ability as well. I believe he had a mid-9 RAS score. Give me some Luke Schoonmaker. 1.75 premium. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna sit here and tell me, anybody who's listening to this, that you've really dug into the tape on Luke Schoonmaker,
good for you.
I hope you're a Michigan fan, because otherwise you are more of a degenerate than us, and we would love to talk to you. But after that pick, I think we've really only got 2 other places that I can go here. 2 positions I'm looking at. I'm going to go back to the running back room just because I think in year 1, it's going to be much worse for the other guy. I'm going to go with Kenny McIntosh to the New York Giants. Hope that he can fit in a little bit there with a complimentary role to Saquon. I've seen Kenny McIntosh to the Giants a lot here in like the 4th, 5th rounds. And so I kind of like that fit. I know he didn't have the best best combine, but Kenny McIntosh, I think, can be a nice 1-2 punch. Maybe he's fighting with Matt Breida for a spot as it currently stands, I believe. So I think Kenny McIntosh can take over that role and get some churn year 1.
Yeah, perfectly fine with that. I'm going to wrap up here our 3rd round with the one and only tight end. I'm going to go with Zach Kuntz. Perfect RAS score guy out of Old Dominion. This is just such a Patriots pick. Mike Gesicki's playing on a 1-year deal. Hunter Henry, I believe, is towards the end of his contract there as well. And, an athletic tight end and an offensive system that likes to use them. Just going to take some shots here at tight end, running back, and a couple other things I have in mind too. But that I will wrap up the third round with.
All right, and I know it's late here, but getting into the back end of this, do you just want to fire off this fourth round? I kind of like some of these guys, so
Yeah,
I'm good with
let's go
firing off
through
the
it here.
fourth
We don't
round,
need
yeah.
it. We don't need some big analysis at this point. At this point in the fourth round, we are just taking some dart throws based on landing spots because this is what we'll be doing in our actual rookie drafts, right? We'll know where these landing spots are. So this is let's keep it real. So let's blow through this.
Yep, I'm going to go with Rashee Rice going to the Arizona Cardinals. I know the offense isn't projected to be very good, but all that he has there is probably going to be Hollywood Brown. If D-Hop is traded, Rashee Rice is going to be my guy. Fall from grace, though, from Rashee Rice.
I absolutely messed up when I picked Kuntz. I looked over there and I saw that Rashee Rice is still on the board, and I was like, whoops. But yeah. I am going to dive over here to the running back room, and I'm going to take a dart throw here on Dwayne McBride going to the San Francisco 49ers. Again, place that likes to use running backs. Bottom line, that's that.
Yep, like to use running backs. They draft one of them every year, it seems like, or maybe two of them, and this is their guy this year. Should get some work because it's impossible to stay healthy in that offense, apparently, as it seems. I'm going to take the guy who's just undersized, but I really like him. Deuce Vaughn out of K-State. One of the best running backs in college, but just doesn't have the size that we've seen convert to the NFL. Going here to the Denver Broncos, I know they're a little bit crowded, I think, as it stands right now, but Javonte being out at the beginning, maybe he can actually show something and claim a little bit of the workload there in Denver.
And no one knows how to use an undersized running back like Sean Payton. So let me dive to the real tight end one in the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to go with Will Mallory, the pass-catching tight end out of Miami. I know they took Darnell Washington earlier in this draft, but he's going to be that blocking inline tight end where Will Mallory is going to have more of a pass-catching role. So give me Will.
Yeah, I don't agree, but you can hope for that outcome. I think that's all it is in the
I
fourth
know, I'm
round
just
here. That's
throwing
just
it
a
out
hope.
here.
That's just a hope shot on Will Mallory, but I'm perfectly fine with it at this point. Looking through the wide receivers here, just really quick before I do make this pick, I will tell you right now, I'm not taking Bryce Ford Wheaton. I don't care that he had his perfect 10 RAS score and he's going to the Minnesota Vikings as the last guy in the third. I'm not taking him in this draft. And so I'm going to go back to the last guy that I actually really do like in the running back room, and that's going to be Eric Gray going to the Baltimore Ravens. Think he can be a Gus Edwards replacement.
Yep, I'm perfectly fine with that. That was going to be my next pick as well. You leave me with some tough choices here, and I feel like I just got to go with my guy. I'm going to go with Trey Palmer, wide receiver out of Nebraska. He's going to be that deep threat for the Falcons. And that's pretty much all he's going to be. So a dart throw wide receiver here in the fourth round. Typically, I don't like to do this, but we got to go back and forth, and I can't leave some of these guys on the board.
Yep. In the fourth, you just got to start taking some guys. Goodness, I do not like any of their landing spots as I'm looking through it. None of them really looking that great. Let me strike out Eric Gray here before I just accidentally try to take another Eric Gray. I'm going to go with the last running back that I actually like a little bit, and I'm going to go with the guy that we had on a graphic earlier this week. I'm going to go with Mo Ibrahim going to the Seattle Seahawks.
And I'll follow you right up with, and I don't know if he's actually in the sleeper system or not, but Deneric Prince out of Tulsa going to the Eagles. Just a running back room that's kind of open. I know that they did take Devon A-Chain earlier in this draft as well, but you have Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott. Like, I'm going to take some Deneric Prince.
Okay, and you're going to leave me with, I don't like to make this move too often. I'm torn between two guys because I'm not going to sit at any other position right now. I will just tell you straight up, I'm going with a quarterback here.
Oh, man.
And I'm torn between two.
Shoot your shot. Let's see what you go with.
I'm not taking Bennett.
Okay.
I'm taking a 6th round guy. I'm either taking Jaron Hall or I'm taking Max Duggan. Jaron Hall is the one who you could actually see come in with Goff playing basically on a 1-year deal right now and take over one of the most high-powered, prolific offenses that we saw last year in the NFL. But I'm going to go with Max Duggan, actually, even though I don't believe he's actually NFL good. Matthew Stafford is fragile right now. He's a little bit broken. And we'll see if he can last an entire year. Max Duggan might just be the guy who ends up playing like week 4 and has to play out the rest of the year. Will he translate? Will he be good?
No. All right.
Likely, but it's going to be Max Duggan for me that I think can see the field, and hopefully I could flip for something higher than a fourth.
No, he's not. Talk about flipping. I'm taking Jake Haener. I'm going to take. I thought you were going to go with Jake Haener. Minnesota Vikings. Interestingly enough, Kirk Cousins is actually currently on the last year of his deal. We will see if Minnesota extends him. He has not played on a 1-year deal, I don't think, ever, except for when since he's left Washington. So we'll see what Jake Haener can be. He kind of had his moments throughout this throughout the process here this offseason, and sure, why not?
Yeah, it has been interesting that Kirk Cousins even in an interview saying I would like to be a Minnesota Viking for the rest of my career. But
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers can no longer be the Lamar Jackson landing spot, and so my new landing spot for Lamar is the Minnesota Vikings. And so we've seen a little bit of hype behind that, and so I don't think that even if Jake Haener gets picked here in the fourth, that can still happen for Lamar to be the Vikings quarterback. And so I'm going along that route, and so that doesn't even play a factor in my mind. I'm going to take a guy who literally, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about. I'm going to take Josh Weil out of Cincinnati going to the Washington Commanders. He has Logan Thomas and the 3-year hope of John Bates to play behind. I think he could see the field.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need, right? You just need the guy on the field at some point. Hopefully he's in the system because I don't know if he's.
I definitely missed your Will Mallory pick. I'm sorry. Will Mallory was in there.
Absolutely did. You absolutely missed Will Mallory. How dare you miss?
I'm sorry. We're only going to the 411 now.
All right. So you got Wiley in there. I'm going to just throw out a dart throw here and go with Bryce Ford Wheaton going to the Minnesota Vikings because he was a 3rd-round wide receiver in a place that needs wide receiver. Now that Adam Thielen has moved on, yes, they have KJ, but hey, he's a deep threat. He can run 9 routes all game long. Best ball dart throw.
Nice best ball dart throw. And then to wrap this one up for me, since we aren't going to make the 412 pick because Will Mallory should be in there somewhere, I'm going to take the guy who is going to the best situation of talent evaluators in the league. They develop wide receiver positions so well. I like the guy of Xavier Hutchinson as well. Had a very good profile at his time in Iowa State, and he's going to get even 200% better as he goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers here because they are just so good with wide receivers. Xavier Hutchinson for his 40 catches and 600 yards as a wide receiver 1 in the 4th round.
You didn't even pick my other pick. Gosh, you just leaving me hanging.
I got you.
We are all good. So I will wrap up here with one last pick, and just because that will take us to the 411, and I'm still gonna take him just out of spite because I don't think we can leave him out. We're gonna take Kayshon Boutte with the last pick going in the 6th round to the LA Rams. Just because I know there's a Debbie Darling out there, or Debbie deep diver out there that is watching this right now and is like, how can you not take Kayshon? It's like because he went in the 6th round to the LA Rams.
You should have done it just despite that person not taking him. That's what we should have.
But I think it'll make him even more mad to see him at the end of the draft.
Just to see him there at the 411 and then Will Mallory at the 412 because that's definitely where he was taken. But this one went a little bit off the rails in the 4th. We were maybe running a little bit too fast.
All drafts do.
Hey, it's always off the rails whenever we're drafting. It's off the rails in the NFL draft, off the rails on the fantasy draft room as well. Pull up the board one more time for all of you that you can take a look at it. Take your screenshot if you want to do that. It's a little bit messed up, we know, but I think it does show, at least for the first 3 rounds, and then your dart throws in the 4th. I think it is a very good draft. I actually really, really love this draft from Shane P Hallam, though. Got to give a shout out to him one more time for putting together a really good 7-round mock. One of the best fantasy gold mine mocks for sure here. I mean, we had a good 2-3 rounds of just actually guys that we were happy with taking. And so absolutely love doing this one with you. And I don't know what we got next on the fantasy draft room, but Chase, if you got anything to plug, you can wrap us on out here, man.
No, please like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a ton. And thank you so much for joining us here on the fantasy draft room.